Hey there, history buffs and fact fanatics. Welcome to Fact TV, your go-to for all things surprising and mind-blowingly true. History isn't just dusty textbooks and dates, it's a wild tapestry of humanity full of twists and turns. Today, we're diving into the US of A, unearthing 20 nuggets of historical trivia they left out of your high school textbooks. From presidential secrets to revolutionary revelations, these little-known facts will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about American history.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Hold up, is this where I call out fake news? I hear you, but stick with me. While George Washington was the first president of the United States, there were actually 14 presidents before him under the Articles of Confederation. These presidents, like John Hanson and Cyrus Griffin, led the nation but with less power. So, while Washington holds his place in history, let's give a nod to those who came before him.
The Constitution wasn't America's first rodeo when it came to governing. That honor goes to the often overshadowed Articles of Confederation. Adopted in 1777, the Articles emphasize state sovereignty over a strong central government. Think of it like a group project where everyone gets an equal say. It became clear a stronger government was needed, leading to the Constitution. Picture this. July 4th, 1776, the ink is drying on the Declaration of Independence and the Liberty Bell is ringing out, proclaiming freedom to all who hear it. Well, hold your horses, Paul Revere, because that iconic scene, it never happened. While the Liberty Bell is undeniably a powerful symbol of American independence, it didn't actually ring on that fateful day. The bell's association with July 4th came much later, solidifying in the 19th century as its image became intertwined with the spirit of independence. All right, pop quiz time. When was the Declaration of Independence signed? If you answered July 4th, 1776, congratulations, you've been schooled by Fact TV. The truth is more complicated. The signing process was drawn out, with the last signature in November. Talk about irony. President Lincoln established the Secret Service on the day he was assassinated. Initially, it was created to combat counterfeit currency. I signed the legislation on April 14, 1865. Hours later, John Wilkes Booth cut Lincoln's presidency short. Picture this, the majestic bald eagle soaring through the sky, a symbol of freedom and power. Wait, scratch that. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers, wasn't a fan. He thought the bald eagle was a bird of bad moral character for stealing food.
Instead, I championed the wild turkey for the national bird. While the bald eagle won, Franklin's preference for the turkey shows our founding fathers had quirks.
Harriet Tubman, the legendary conductor of the Underground Railroad, is renowned for her bravery in leading enslaved people to freedom. During the Civil War, I led an armed military expedition, the Combahee River Raid, liberating over 700 enslaved people. My military prowess and commitment to freedom make me a true American hero.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Those words, ingrained in the minds of schoolchildren for generations, have a surprisingly commercial origin story. The Pledge of Allegiance wasn't penned by a founding father or etched into a historical document. In 1892, a magazine publisher, looking to boost flag sales to public schools, commissioned a writer to create a patriotic pledge to accompany the Stars and Stripes. While its origins may be rooted in capitalism, the pledge has evolved into a powerful symbol of national unity, recited by millions each day. You've heard of turf wars, but what about a pig war? No, this isn't some bizarre children's story. The Pig War of 1859 was a very real, very tense standoff between the United States and Great Britain. The conflict, sparked by a dispute over a pig shot on a disputed island in the Pacific Northwest, escalated as both sides poured troops into the region. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and the war ended without a single human casualty. Talk about a historical coincidence. On July 4, 1826, exactly 50 years after the Declaration of Independence was adopted, two of its most prominent signatories, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, died within hours of each other. Jefferson, the principal author of the Declaration, and Adams, its fiery advocate, played instrumental roles in shaping the nation's founding. Their deaths on the 50th anniversary of American independence are a poignant reminder of the legacy of the Founding Fathers and the enduring power of their ideals. Ever heard of David Rice Atchison? No? He technically served as President of the United States for one day. In 1849, Zachary Taylor's inauguration was delayed by a day because it fell on a Sunday. President James K. Polk's term ended at noon on March 4th, leaving a 24-hour gap. As President pro tempore of the Senate, Atchison was next in line. His presidency was largely symbolic, a quirky footnote in American history. The White House, that iconic symbol of American presidency, wasn't always so white. In fact, when it was first constructed in the late 18th century, the building was covered in a grayish-white sandstone. It wasn't until after the War of 1812, when the British Army set fire to Washington, D.C., that the White House got its signature hue. The building, badly damaged by the fire, underwent extensive renovations. To mask the burn marks, the exterior walls were painted white, a color that stuck and eventually became synonymous with the residence itself. We've all heard of a $100 bill, but did you know the U.S. Treasury once printed a $100,000 bill? Don't bother checking your wallets though. These weren't your everyday banknotes. Printed in 1934 during the Great Depression, these high-denomination bills were used exclusively for transactions between Federal Reserve banks. Featuring a portrait of President Woodrow Wilson, the $100,000 bill was never circulated among the general public. Today, these rare notes are considered collector's items, fetching astronomical prices at auctions. Lady Liberty, that copper-clad beacon of hope, wasn't always destined to be green. When French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi first envisioned the Statue of Liberty, he imagined her covered in gold. Yes, you heard that right. Bartholdi's original design called for the statue to be sheathed in sheets of pure gold. However, the cost of such an undertaking proved to be, shall we say, prohibitive. So copper, a more affordable and readily available material, was chosen instead. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, the Founding Fathers never saw it coming. While they couldn't have predicted the specific political parties we have today, they were wary of the very concept of factionalism. George Washington, in his farewell address, cautioned against the baneful effects of the spirit of party, fearing it would divide the nation. Ironically, the very system of government they created, with its checks and balances, actually fostered the development of political parties. It seems even the most brilliant minds can't always predict the unintended consequences of their creations. The Boston Tea Party, that iconic act of defiance against British rule, is often portrayed as a simple protest against tea taxes. But the story is far more nuanced. Colonists protested other British policies, including taxes on paper, glass, and paint. The Boston Tea Party was a boiling point that ignited the American Revolution. So, next time you sip tea, remember its historical significance. Alaska, that vast expanse of natural beauty, was purchased from Russia in 1867 for $7.2 million. The deal was mocked as Seward's folly. Alaska held vast reserves of gold, oil, and other natural resources, making it a strategic and economic goldmine. Sometimes the best deals raise eyebrows. The blue and the gray. And the blue? When you think of the U.S. Army, you probably picture soldiers clad in olive drab or camouflage. But did you know that the Army uniform was once blue? From the Revolutionary War through World War I, blue was the predominant color of U.S. Army uniforms. The shift to olive drab came about during World War I for better camouflage. This change marked a turning point in military attire. Beneath the soaring dome of the U.S. Capitol lies a crypt, a solemn space originally intended as the final resting place of George Washington. However, Washington's will stipulated that he be buried at Mount Vernon, his beloved Virginia estate. Despite this, the crypt remained, a symbolic tomb honoring the nation's first president. To this day, it stands empty, a reminder of Washington's enduring legacy and the importance of honoring the wishes, even in death, of those who shaped the nation. Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, wasn't always the seat of American government. In fact, before settling on D.C., the United States had two other capital cities, New York City and Philadelphia. New York City served as the first capital under the Constitution from 1789 to 1790. Philadelphia then took over the role from 1790 to 1800, while Washington, D.C. was under construction. The decision to establish a new capital city in a newly created federal district was a compromise aimed at appeasing both northern and southern states. Wow, we covered a lot of ground today, didn't we? From presidential quirks to national symbols with surprising backstories, U.S. history is chock full of hidden gems. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Fact TV. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, the past is never as simple as it seems.